Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So, on Christmas Day, 10 years ago, I got what any 12-year-old into anime would want, a drawing tablet. Not just any, but a Wacom Bamboo tablet. And when I got this on Christmas Day, I decided to do a piece of art. And now that it is 10 years later, also on Christmas, I decided to redraw it. So, as we can see, here is our subject. I'm about to list out a whole list of grievances with it. Now, I want to preface this whole video by just saying that, if everybody starts somewhere, and so this was the first drawing that I did ever touching a tablet like this in my entire life. And so if you've never used one before, if your art looks like this or looks worse than this, like, this whole video is meant to be lighthearted, and it's mainly just supposed to be like, wow, look at how far I've come personally. And hopefully if you want to do art, you can kind of see that, it gets better. If you keep doing it, it gets better. So yeah, a lot of critiques for this original drawing. I think its worst offense is that it's just not very interesting. Here we are in Procreate for the new version. So the original one, I remember I did it in Paint Tool Sci because it's very easy to pirate. You can pirate it on, I remember I downloaded it off of DeviantArt. Like, that's how easy it was. And now, as an adult and as someone who understands that was made by one guy, that wasn't a great thing of me to do. So if you're gonna use Paint Tool Sci, buy it if you can. But yep, I used that program. I used the hell out of those default brushes, and I just made like the most generic anime girl you've ever seen, standing with her hands behind her back because I couldn't draw hands very well. As I look back on this drawing, I think the most distinctive aspect that I can't help but think is like, what was going on in my head? Like, I genuinely think it was just me trying to get used to the idea of drawing on something and not directly looking at it, like having to draw and look at a screen at the same time. That sort of hand-eye coordination. And so I think I just had no ideas in my head, like head empty, need to just draw anime girl in Santa hat because Christmas. And so with this one, I think the most important thing is I wanted to maintain the integrity of the original, but also give it a bit more personality, because I'm proud to say that I think that my art has personality now, and it did not 10 years ago. There were just some things like, where are we? Why is she looking at me like that? Just like a lot of questions raised by the original. And so I wanted to try and answer those sort of questions to the best of my ability. So, as you can see already in the pose, her hands are not behind her back, they are being obscured by a gift instead. I wanted to kind of, honor the idea of not drawing the hand if we don't need to, but also give her a bit more agency instead of her just standing there. And yeah, I wanted to emphasize the clothing a bit more. It's a redraw, and it's one of a substantial length of time. And this was also this was right at a very transitional period of my art. I was drawing anime art for like an entire year. All of 6th grade was anime art because I just discovered what anime was. And so this is like right when I started discovering other artists on like DeviantArt, and that's why I wanted the drawing tablet. Like, I had never heard of it until I was in like 7th grade when I started watching or consuming art that was made digitally, and I was like, oh my god, you can do that? Like, me who spends all their time online or like looking at a screen, like, no way, you can make art that way too. And so, yeah, I just really, I was so excited about it. And obviously, that itch sort of stuck, and I'm still doing digital art to this day, although this was on an iPad and not on a screenless tablet like that. Though I've thought about getting one again because I think it'd be better ergonomically. Regardless, here we are in the coloring stage. I actually really wanted to keep the colors like true to the outfit. I could have easily just made like a whole new Christmas piece and it would easily show like, yeah, I have gotten better in the past 10 years of doing art. But I wanted to like show, like, if I could show this to me 10 years ago, I don't think I'd believe it, Like, I wanted something that could be like a gift to my past self, where it's like, look, you know how to draw bodies now, and you can, vaguely kind of sketch in a tree, and you know how colors work. Like, yeah, that's kind of my intention with it. It's a Christmas gift to 12-year-old me and all the me's that have existed between now and then. As you can see, I kind of move the trees forward more. I guess, like, instead of meeting her in some weird field, like it's like Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2, you're like going through a winter walk together, and she has a gift for you. It's like a dating sim or something, I don't know. Listen, there's only so much plot that I can inject in the original. The original has like no meaning whatsoever. And also with the colors, it's interesting because I was observing on the original that I knew what adjustment layers were, because all the shading was done on a multiply layer. I could see it. And now, happy to say, I've expanded beyond just multiply, which is what I don't even use often anymore for other reasons. I might make a video about adjustment layers, to be honest, because I think they're interesting, but a lot of overlay magic kind of going on here. Another aspect that I really want to emphasize is that this was so much easier to do than the original, which makes sense because there's so many different things that you're kind of struggling and grappling with the first time you do digital art, especially if you've been drawing on paper at all. Like, I think most people have, like, they start on paper and then they try doing it digitally, and you're just fighting. You kind of have to fight for a long time to get to a place where you're actually able to A, make something that looks good, but B, make something that looks good more efficiently. And so I remember I spent like a good afternoon on the original, I think, and this one took me 40 minutes. So that sort of timeline really shows how much practice helps in making you able to do things more quickly. And yeah, we're coming up on the end here. If you noticed, I did use a default brush for the snow. I will admit that I did not want to draw that snow by hand. I also added like a nice little vignette over the whole border just to kind of, make it more atmospheric. I mean, this isn't one of my favorite drawings I've ever done, but I think it is it's heartwarming. I think it's fitting for the Christmas spirit to, return to my roots and kind of give my past self a gift by showing them like, hey, look, you did this. Congrats, kid. And as you can see right now, I am indeed including Merry Christmas so that, it's really fitting to the original. And yep, here they are, 10 years of digital art, and all I got is this drawing of a blonde girl. Thank you for watching. Happy holidays. Stay safe, stay warm. See you in the next one.